Would you consider the weak side from a stroke the same as having no feeling on that side? Well, you can have both. So a stroke can cause no feeling and it can cause weakness, and it really depends on what areas of the brain were impacted by the stroke. So they're not technically the same thing. So weakness, and I don't use that word a whole lot because it's not truly weakness. It's not like you have an atrophied muscle because there's damage to a muscle. But the reason you can't activate a muscle is because the brain is the main control center that kind of sends out all the commands to the muscles, and that part is broken. And that's what we would call, that's what people see as weakness. A motor nerve, so a part of the brain that sends information to the body, has been impacted by that stroke. No feeling is information coming into the brain that goes to a different area of the brain. And so that can also be affected, and that if that part of the brain is affected, then you would have no feeling, right? Now, there's a third area, which are like these integration centers of the brain, which kind of take like a motor plan, and it kind of sends a plan to an area of the brain, and that area of the brain is also taking in sensory information to kind of figure out, okay, what does that motor plan? How do we need to modify that, if at all, because of some of the sensory information coming into the brain? It'll kind of modify it based on that sensory information to send that signal out. That's a very simplified explanation. But if one of those areas are impacted, then you might have, sensory problems and motor problems because the brain, that integration area of the brain, just doesn't know how to process all that information to send out an appropriate response. So any of those three areas can be impacted. In most cases, I find that it's more of an integration area that is impacted with the people that have no sensation and weakness. That's probably not very scientific, but I do feel like it's kind of probably one of more of the deeper areas of the brain when someone has both. But the reason why you would want to work on motor activities is in order to do a motor activity, your brain does need to utilize sensory feeling information. So that is why even if someone just has like a sensory issue or a feeling problem, we would still work on motor activities, like task activities. This is just, I'm speculating here. Again, I don't know your situation exactly, but if I'm understanding this question right, we would still work on motor activities because it will challenge your brain to have to take in more of that sensory, that feeling information. So your brain needs that sensory, that feeling information in order to do anything motor, any task, any movement. So I would say whether you just have feeling issues or you just have weakness issues, motor movement is going to help with both of those. If sensory feeling information, if I determine that that's the main reason or that's a bigger problem that's affecting someone's ability to move, then I might incorporate more things that will increase what we call like sensory input. Tapping, vibration, lots of movement, shaking, things like that, because we're trying to get more sensory information into the brain. So I hope that answered your question, if I understood that correctly. So if not, leave it in the comments and I'll try and answer it at the end. If you liked that video and you want to learn more exercises on how to improve your walking, definitely check out this video over here or that video over there. If you want even more help, check out our Gold membership program where you'll get access to over 300 exercises that are not here on YouTube, as well as access to our monthly lives where you can get your questions answered.